The night was quiet in Sector 47B of Neo City, the kind of quiet that made every sound echo twice as loud. Street lights flickered occasionally, sending brief shadows across the narrow alleys. In the midst of this calm, inside a small, cluttered apartment on the 42nd floor of a rusting high-rise, Jeremy Hale worked with a focus that bordered on obsession. Jeremy wasn't a normal man. He wasn't a scientist employed by the government, nor a soldier guarding the city. He was a tinkerer, a dreamer, someone who wanted to push the limits of human understanding. His latest experiment, a strange device that hummed and glowed with faint blue light, promised to be his greatest creation yet. He had barely finished assembling it when a sudden spark shot out from the core. The small room filled with a hiss of electricity and a faint blue mist. Jeremy jumped back, heart pounding, as the device began to glow brighter than ever. He had tested it countless times, but tonight felt different. The air crackled with tension. Something in the device was responding to him, not to the patterns he had programmed, but to his thoughts. What is happening?" he whispered to himself, his voice trembling. Sweat ran down his forehead. His hands shook as he reached for the control panel, trying to stabilize the machine. He had worked alone for weeks, testing the device in secret, never intending anyone else to see it. But he hadn't counted on neighbors who were as unusual as the device itself. Outside, a soft knock sounded on his door. Jeremy froze. Who could be visiting at this hour? Visitors were rare in his building, especially in the late hours of the night. He glanced at the small window and immediately froze again. There she was, the Dragon Lady. Her presence was impossible to ignore. Towering and elegant, with silver-scaled skin that shimmered faintly in the dim light, she stood in the hallway, her eyes glowing softly like molten gold. Her wings were folded neatly behind her back, and her tail flicked in slow, deliberate movements. She wasn't human, and everyone in the building knew it. Everyone except Jeremy had learned to keep their distance. Jeremy's heart skipped a beat. He hadn't expected her to be awake, let alone outside his door. And he certainly hadn't expected her to be watching him. The door creaked open slightly, almost as if guided by her presence. Her eyes widened, not in anger, but in shock. She froze completely, staring at the glowing device on Jeremy's table. "What is that?" she whispered, her voice like rolling thunder softened by silk. Even in surprise, her tone carried authority. Jeremy stammered, It's an experiment. I was just—" He stopped himself. How could he explain this to a Dragon Lady, one of the most powerful beings in Neo City? The Dragon Lady's gaze never left the device. Her golden eyes reflected the strange blue glow, flickering with disbelief. She didn't move, didn't speak further. She simply stood there, frozen, as though the device had revealed something she never expected to see. Jeremy's mind raced. Oh no, she saw it. She saw everything. Panic clawed at his chest. The last thing he wanted was for her to report him. Neo City's authorities would have shut him down, confiscated his research, and possibly imprisoned him. He had to act fast. "Please, don't tell anyone," he said, taking a step toward her, hands raised in a gesture of peace. "I didn't mean for anyone to see this. I just wanted to understand it myself." The Dragon Lady's frozen stance slowly softened. Her lips curved slightly, though it was unclear if it was a smile or an expression of disbelief. She stepped closer, and Jeremy felt a subtle shift in the air. The temperature dropped just a little, and the hum of the device grew louder, responding somehow to her presence. "You created this?" she asked, her voice now steady but still full of awe. "Alone?" Jeremy swallowed hard. "Yes, I didn't know it could do this. I mean, it's not fully stable yet." Her gaze sharpened. "It's more than not stable. It's powerful. Dangerous." Jeremy froze. He had feared this reaction. He had feared she would see the danger and report him immediately. But there was something else in her expression. Curiosity. Intense, burning curiosity. "You shouldn't have shown me this," she said softly. "Not yet. Not without understanding the consequences." Jeremy nodded, relief and fear mixing in his chest. I didn't mean to. I didn't know anyone was awake or outside my door. The dragon lady took a step closer to the device, her golden eyes scanning every angle. The hum seemed to sync with her heartbeat, almost as if the machine recognized her. Jeremy held his breath. He had never seen anyone, human or otherwise, interact with his creation in this way. I didn't expect this, she whispered again, her voice barely audible. Her eyes widened once more, and she glanced at Jeremy. You are not like other humans. Jeremy felt a mixture of pride and fear. I just want to learn. I want to understand things. Maybe even help. Her gaze softened. Perhaps, but power like this, it can destroy as easily as it can create. Jeremy nodded solemnly. He knew she was right. He had already seen how the device reacted unpredictably. Sparks flew, strange energy pulses shook the table, and objects on the walls vibrated faintly. He had barely controlled it tonight. For a long moment they stood in silence. The hum of the device filled the room, blending with the faint sounds of the city below. Then, without warning, the machine let out a sudden flash, a burst of light that made Jeremy blink. The dragon lady flinched, but then she froze again, this time with wide eyes of shock. The device had reacted to something she hadn't expected. Energy rippled outward, forming shapes in the air, shapes that looked like distant stars, planets, and strange alien symbols. Jeremy stepped back, heart racing. I don't know how it did that, he whispered. The dragon lady's voice trembled slightly, a rare display of vulnerability. You have created a window into places I thought were unreachable. Jeremy's eyes widened. You mean other worlds? She nodded slowly. Yes, not just other worlds, but possibilities, dimensions, powers, beyond even my understanding. A chill ran down Jeremy's spine. He hadn't intended this. He had only wanted to study energy patterns, perhaps learn new ways to power machines. But now he realized he might have done something much bigger, something far beyond human understanding. The dragon lady's golden eyes softened as she studied him. You are reckless. Jeremy smiled nervously. I know, and yet, perhaps you are needed. Her words hung in the air like a prophecy. Before he could ask what she meant, the device pulsed again, brighter this time. Jeremy felt the floor tremble, the walls hum, and the air vibrate. Sparks flew from the device's core, and he instinctively raised his hands to protect himself. The dragon lady moved swiftly, placing a hand on the device. Her scales shimmered, and a strange energy surrounded them both. The pulsing slowed, the hum quieted, and the flashes of light faded. Jeremy exhaled, relief washing over him. You stopped it? She nodded, looking at him seriously. For now, but you cannot handle this alone. Not yet. Jeremy's heart pounded. Then what happens now? The dragon lady's eyes glowed with a mix of warning and curiosity. Now you learn, and I watch, carefully. Jeremy blinked, unsure if he had heard correctly. She wasn't angry. She wasn't leaving. She was staying, watching, guiding. As the night deepened, Jeremy realized that everything had changed. His quiet life, his secret experiments, his lonely existence, they were over. Something new, something extraordinary had entered his world, and it had golden eyes that could pierce through the shadows of his soul. The dragon lady moved toward the window, looking out at the city bathed in neon lights. You have started something dangerous and wonderful. Be ready, human. The real test is just beginning. Jeremy swallowed hard, staring at the glowing device. The hum had calmed, but the possibilities it held, possibilities that even the dragon lady seemed unsure of, made his chest tighten with excitement and fear. And at that moment, Jeremy knew that life would never be quiet again. Something had been awakened tonight, and neither he nor the dragon lady could turn back. The glow from Jeremy's strange device faded into a soft, eerie blue as the first hints of dawn crept through the tall windows of his apartment. Yet the room was far from calm. The air still vibrated faintly with energy, a reminder of what had happened just hours before. Jeremy sat on the edge of his worn couch, hands trembling, eyes glued to the strange being in his living room. The dragon lady had moved, but not far. She leaned against the wall, wings folded neatly behind her, her golden eyes fixed on the device. Her expression was unreadable, yet Jeremy sensed something deeper than curiosity or shock. It was awe, mixed with caution, and something else, something he couldn't name. For long moments, neither spoke. Jeremy tried to think of words that could explain what had just happened, but each one sounded small, inadequate. How could he explain to one of the most powerful beings in the city that he had accidentally opened a window into dimensions unknown? Finally, she spoke, her voice low and deliberate. "You have no idea what you are playing with." Jeremy swallowed hard. I didn't mean to. I was careful. I tested everything." Her gaze sharpened. "Careful? Do you call this careful?" She gestured toward the still glowing device. Sparks flickered faintly along its edges, pulsing like a heartbeat. This could tear the very fabric of reality if mishandled. Jeremy shivered. He hadn't considered that. All he had wanted was knowledge, perhaps a way to harness energy in ways no human had ever done. But he had never imagined the scale of what he had accidentally unlocked. The dragon lady moved closer, her footsteps silent on the worn carpet. She stopped just a few feet from him and crouched slightly, her eyes narrowing. "Tell me, what exactly did you intend?" Jeremy hesitated. I wanted to see if energy could be connected, if it could respond to thought. That's all. I wanted to learn. Not this." His voice shook as he gestured toward the faintly pulsing device. "I didn't know it could open things. Worlds, dimensions. I don't even know." The dragon lady blinked, and for a moment her fear, or perhaps her disbelief, was visible. She straightened, brushing a lock of silver hair behind her scaled ear. "Humans rarely understand power they cannot see or touch. You are different. Reckless, yes, but different." Jeremy's heart pounded. He had never heard her speak like this. Most of the city feared her, avoided her. And yet, here she was, standing in his apartment, speaking to him. Not in anger, but with consideration. "Different how?" he asked quietly, almost afraid of the answer. Her golden eyes softened slightly, but her voice remained serious. "You see the impossible and you reach for it. You do not fear it, not entirely. That is unusual for a human." Jeremy shook his head in disbelief. I'm just curious. That's all." The dragon lady tilted her head, considering him. "Curiosity is dangerous," she said slowly. "And yet, it may be the only thing keeping you alive right now." Jeremy frowned, unsure what she meant. "Alive?" Her gaze turned sharp again. "Do you realize what you just did? The device you created, it responded to something beyond this world. It pulled energy from places even I cannot reach. You have touched forces that are not meant for humans. And something will notice." A cold shiver ran down Jeremy's spine. He had not considered the consequences beyond his apartment. "Notice? Who? What?" Her golden eyes darkened. "Entities that watch, that protect, and that destroy. They do not take kindly to humans meddling in powers beyond their reach. You have drawn attention." Jeremy's mind raced. Attention? From who? The dragon lady did not answer immediately. Instead, she paced slowly around the room, her tail sweeping the floor with quiet authority. "For now they are distant, but they are aware. And when they come, it will not be gentle." Jeremy's stomach dropped. He had created a machine to learn, to understand energy, not to summon danger. Yet he now realized he might have invited something unimaginable into his life. He looked at the dragon lady. "Then what do we do?" She stopped and fixed her golden eyes on him again. "We prepare. You must learn control. And I must ensure you survive long enough to understand what you have done." Jeremy stared at her, uncertainty and fear twisting inside him. "Survive? You mean, you're going to teach me?" She nodded slowly. "Yes, But this will not be easy. You will have to confront things you cannot see. Things that will test every limit of your mind and your courage. Jeremy swallowed hard. And the device? The device is the key, she said, her voice firm. It is dangerous, yes, but it is also your chance. Your chance to prove that humans can handle what even dragons fear. But one wrong step. She paused, letting the silence speak. And it will end badly. Jeremy's hands trembled. He looked at the glowing machine and then back at the dragon lady. I think I can do it, he said, trying to sound more confident than he felt. The dragon lady studied him for a long moment, then nodded. Perhaps, but bravery without understanding is meaningless. You must learn quickly. A strange hush fell over the room. Even the faint hum of the device seemed to quiet, as if waiting for the next move. Jeremy felt a mix of fear and excitement. He was about to embark on something far greater than he had ever imagined. Then, unexpectedly, the dragon lady stepped closer. I must warn you, others will come. Not all of them will be kind. Not all will be willing to wait while you learn. Jeremy's pulse quickened. Others? You mean creatures like you? She shook her head. Not like me. Worse. Far worse. Some are ancient. Some are not entirely of this reality. You have touched their attention. And when they come, her voice softened, almost a whisper. You may not survive alone. Jeremy's hands clenched. He had never felt this combination of fear and thrill. Danger was real. He had seen it, but it was also a chance to learn, to grow, to become more than an ordinary human. The dragon lady's gaze softened. I will help you, but you must promise one thing. Anything, Jeremy said immediately. Do not underestimate what you have created. Respect it, understand it, and never let curiosity blind you to danger. Jeremy nodded, determination replacing fear. I promise. For the first time, a faint smile crossed the dragon lady's lips. It was not warmth, not friendliness, but something else, approval. Good. Then we begin soon. Jeremy stared at her, the weight of what lay ahead pressing down on him. He had touched power he did not fully understand. He had drawn the attention of forces beyond his comprehension. And yet, with the dragon lady by his side, he felt a strange mixture of hope and courage. For the first time in his life, he realized that the quiet, lonely apartment he called home was no longer safe. Danger was coming. Adventure was coming. And nothing, absolutely nothing, would ever be the same again. The dragon lady turned toward the window, her golden eyes scanning the city below. Jeremy followed her gaze, feeling the tension in the air tighten. He could sense that the world outside was waiting, that challenges and threats lurked in the shadows, and that the true test of his courage was only just beginning. The hum of the device filled the room once more, a reminder of the power he had unleashed and the journey that lay ahead. Jeremy's heart raced. He was ready, or at least he hoped he was. The dragon lady finally spoke again, her voice low but firm. Tomorrow we begin. And Jeremy, be ready. This will not be simple. Nothing about your world, or mine, will ever be the same again. Jeremy nodded. His mind raced with questions, fears, and a strange excitement that he could not ignore. For better or worse, he was no longer alone. And the stunned dragon lady beside him was proof that the impossible had begun. The following morning, Neo City was bathed in a pale, almost ghostly light. Jeremy woke to the faint hum of his strange device, still glowing softly on the table. He rubbed his eyes, trying to shake off the lingering tension of last night. The dragon lady, however, was already awake, her golden eyes scanning the city from the window with a focus that made Jeremy feel small. Good morning, Jeremy said cautiously, breaking the silence. I hope you slept well. The dragon lady didn't turn immediately. Finally, she looked at him, her expression unreadable. Sleep is unnecessary when you are aware. Last night changed more than your life, Jeremy. It changed the balance around us. Jeremy felt a chill. He had hoped that after the shock of last night, things would calm down a little. Clearly, they hadn't. I still don't fully understand, he admitted. I only wanted to test energy to learn. Her gaze softened slightly, though suspicion lingered. Learning is never simple, and sometimes what you learn exposes truths humans are not ready for. Jeremy swallowed hard. Truths? Like what? The dragon lady's wings shifted slightly behind her, a subtle display of unease. I have watched over these realms for centuries, Jeremy. I have seen humans grow, adapt, and sometimes falter. What you did, what you created, it is beyond ordinary understanding. The device you made, it connects to forces older than our city, older than the dragons themselves. Jeremy's eyes widened. Older than you? She nodded slowly. Yes, there are energies, dimensions, and beings that exist beyond your comprehension. They are not all kind. Some seek balance, some seek power. Your device, it has drawn their attention. Jeremy's heart pounded. He had felt a thrill in creating the device, the excitement of seeing it work, but now the weight of what he had unleashed settled heavily on him. So, it's dangerous. The dragon lady's gaze pierced him. Dangerous is one word. Uncontrollable is another. And you, Jeremy, have created something that neither humans nor dragons should wield lightly. Jeremy's hands trembled. I didn't mean for that. I didn't want anyone to see. Her gaze softened briefly. And yet, someone did. She paused, her golden eyes locking with his. I saw it. I saw your creation and I was stunned. Not angry, not judgmental. Stunned. Because in your hands, something rare and extraordinary exists. Jeremy's pulse quickened. Extraordinary? You mean, it's not just a machine? No, she said quietly. It is more than a machine. It is a bridge, a tool, a key to forces that have never been touched by humans. Jeremy's mind raced. A key to what? The dragon lady's gaze returned to the glowing device. Possibilities, dimensions, powers, realms where dragons do not rule, where humans do not tread, where beings older than us both hold dominion. You have opened a door. Jeremy felt a mixture of fear and awe. A door to other worlds? She nodded slowly. Yes, and it is not a door to be opened carelessly. What you have done could attract attention, both helpful and harmful. Jeremy swallowed hard. Attention? From who? The dragon lady's expression darkened. Beings who do not like to be disturbed. Some watch silently for centuries. Some strike without warning. You have drawn their eyes. And soon, they may come for you. For this device. For what you represent. Jeremy's stomach tightened. For me? But I'm just a human. How could they care about me? Because, she said, her voice low and firm, sometimes humans create things they cannot control, things that can shift the balance of power. And sometimes, the balance must be protected no matter the cost. Jeremy's mind spun. He had only wanted knowledge, only wanted to learn. Now, he realized he had become part of something far bigger than himself. A small spark had ignited a chain reaction he could not yet understand. I don't know if I can handle this, he admitted quietly. I'm just one person. The dragon lady took a slow step closer. Her golden eyes softened, yet they were sharp with warning. You will not be alone. I will guide you, but you must promise you will listen, learn, and act with caution. One mistake, and everything you know could be destroyed. Jeremy nodded solemnly. I promise. I will do whatever it takes. Her eyes lingered on him. Then she finally spoke with a trace of rare warmth. Good, because soon you will need courage, intelligence, and trust. More than you have ever needed in your life. Jeremy felt a spark of determination rise within him. Fear was still there, gnawing at his chest, but curiosity, excitement, and a strange sense of destiny began to replace it. He had touched power beyond his understanding, yes, but he had also been given guidance by one of the oldest and strongest beings he had ever known. Jeremy, the dragon lady said, her tone now sharper, more urgent. We must uncover the secrets your device has revealed. What lies beyond we must see, understand, and prepare. And you You must be ready to face truths you cannot yet imagine. Jeremy's heart raced. I will. Show me what I need to know. I'm ready. The dragon lady's gaze softened, and she moved closer to the glowing device, her fingers brushing faintly over its surface. Energy pulsed gently beneath her touch, responding to her presence. She turned back to him, golden eyes gleaming. Then we begin. Secrets will be revealed, and what you learn may change the course of your life and the lives of many others. Jeremy nodded, gripping his hands tightly. He could feel the gravity of the moment, the weight of responsibility pressing down on him. Yet, beneath the fear, a strange thrill coursed through his veins. This was no longer a simple experiment. This was the beginning of a journey that would test every limit of his courage, intelligence, and humanity. The dragon lady stepped back, wings folding neatly, her gaze scanning the city outside. Be warned, she said softly, almost as a whisper to herself. The world you know is fragile, and curiosity can awaken forces that never forgive. Jeremy looked at her, the sense of awe and danger mingling in his chest. He knew that he had crossed a line, that the events of last night had pulled him into a world far bigger than himself. Yet he also knew that with the dragon lady guiding him, he had a chance, just a chance, to survive, to learn, and to uncover the secrets that had been revealed to him. The hum of the device filled the apartment once more, steady, persistent, almost like a heartbeat. Jeremy felt a shiver of anticipation. Whatever lay ahead, he knew this. His life would never be ordinary again. The dragon lady had witnessed his creation. She had seen what he was capable of, and the secrets of the universe were waiting. And Jeremy was ready, or as ready as he could ever be. The day after Jeremy's first revelation with the dragon lady dawned gray and heavy over Neo City. Outside, the streets were busy with people oblivious to the storm brewing in a small apartment high above. But inside, Jeremy felt the air itself tremble with tension. The device on his table hummed louder than ever, pulsing as if alive. Sparks occasionally leapt from its edges, tiny flashes of blue that reflected in his wide, anxious eyes. This is worse than I thought, Jeremy muttered under his breath, pacing back and forth. He had spent hours reviewing his notes, recalculating energy patterns, and trying to understand the device's unpredictable behavior. Nothing had prepared him for what had started happening now. The dragon lady stood near the window, her golden eyes scanning the city below, alert to every flicker of movement, every unusual shadow. She had not moved to touch the device yet, letting Jeremy try to stabilize it himself. Her silence was unnerving. What's happening? Jeremy asked, turning toward her. The device. It's reacting to something. I can feel it. It's not just responding to me anymore. Her gaze remained sharp, her wings shifting slightly behind her. Good. That means the attention you drew last night is no longer passive. They are aware, Jeremy. Beings older than your understanding are observing. And they do not like intrusions. Jeremy froze. Beings? Watching us? Are you saying they're coming here? The dragon lady's golden eyes narrowed. Not yet, but the device is a beacon, a signal. Every pulse it emits is like a shout into realms that were never meant for humans. If left unchecked, you could bring them here, and when they arrive, they will bring destruction. Jeremy's stomach churned. He had been careless. All his excitement, all his curiosity, it had led him to this dangerous precipice. So, what do we do? Her eyes flicked to the device. We contain it. You cannot do this alone. Before Jeremy could respond, the device pulsed violently, and the room was filled with a blinding blue light. Sparks flew, crackling across the floor and walls. Jeremy shielded his eyes, coughing as the air seemed to vibrate around him. When he finally looked up, the dragon lady's eyes were wide with alarm. Something is coming, she said urgently. The device. It's drawing them closer. Jeremy's hands flew over the control panel, trying to stabilize the energy surges. But the device was responding unpredictably, its pulses erratic, as if it had a mind of its own. Each hum grew louder, each spark brighter, and Jeremy realized with a sinking heart that he had unleashed forces far beyond his control. Suddenly, the lights in the room flickered, and shadows stretched unnaturally across the walls. Shapes began to appear, faint at first, as if projected from another dimension. They moved with impossible speed, shifting and twisting, impossible geometries that made Jeremy's stomach lurch. What are they?" he whispered, eyes wide. The dragon lady stepped closer, placing a hand near the device without touching it. Energy responded to her presence, forming faint protective barriers around them. "They are entities from beyond. They observe all who meddle with forces they guard. And Jeremy, they have noticed you." Jeremy's pulse quickened. "Not just me, but the device? Everything I've done." "Yes," she said sharply. "Everything. The device is a beacon, and those who watch do not forgive." A sudden crash from the balcony startled them both. Jeremy turned to see a shadow, immense and shifting, looming just beyond the glass. Sparks from the device illuminated jagged edges of shapes he could not comprehend. Forms that defied physics, forms that seemed alive yet not alive. "Jeremy!" the dragon lady shouted. "Move!" He barely had time to react before one of the strange shadows surged toward them. Energy shot from the device in a blinding pulse, and the dragon lady extended her wings, creating a barrier of shimmering scales that absorbed the impact. Jeremy stumbled back, heart racing, feeling the force of the strike reverberate through the floor. What are these things?" he gasped, trying to catch his breath. "Guardians," she said grimly. "Protectors of realms you've touched. They are not all evil, but they are dangerous, and their patience is thin." Jeremy swallowed hard. He had thought curiosity was a harmless trait, a spark of excitement in his life. Now he realized that curiosity could awaken forces that had slept for centuries, forces beyond human comprehension. The device pulsed again, brighter, faster. Shadows twisted, moving with terrifying intelligence. Jeremy's hands flew over the control panel, trying desperately to stabilize the energy. He glanced at the dragon lady, who was now fully engaged, her golden eyes glowing as she manipulated energy around the room, keeping the shadows at bay. "Jeremy," she shouted, "you have to focus. Control it, or we won't survive the night." He nodded, forcing himself to calm down. Slowly, carefully, he adjusted the controls, his mind focusing on the device's pattern. The pulses began to slow, the light dimmed, and the shapes outside the balcony flickered uncertainly, as if testing his resolve. "It's working," he said, relief and fear mixing in his voice. The dragon lady kept her stance, eyes never leaving the shadows. "Not for long. They are patient, Jeremy. Far more patient than you are. And they will return. You must be ready. Always." Jeremy nodded, exhaustion weighing on him. His hands shook, but a strange thrill ran through his veins. Danger had never felt this real, this immediate, and yet he was alive. He had faced forces beyond his understanding and survived. The dragon lady finally exhaled, the tension in her shoulders easing slightly. "You are learning quickly, but this is only the beginning. The consequences of curiosity are heavy, Jeremy. And you will feel them soon enough." Jeremy looked at her, determination building in his chest. I don't care how dangerous it is. I have to keep going. I have to understand." Her gaze softened just slightly. "Good, because once you learn control, you will be stronger, smarter, and perhaps ready for what comes next." Outside, the city went about its day, oblivious to the invisible storm hovering over a single apartment. But Jeremy and the dragon lady knew that the real danger was not outside. It was already inside, already awakened, and already waiting. Jeremy glanced at the glowing device, its pulses now gentle but steady, like a heartbeat. He knew that this was just the first trial. What lay ahead would be far more dangerous, far more unpredictable. And the consequences of curiosity would not wait. For the first time, Jeremy felt the true weight of what he had unleashed. He was no longer tinkering in solitude. He had drawn attention from forces beyond comprehension, forces that would test him, challenge him, and perhaps even destroy him if he faltered. And yet, in that weight he also found purpose. He had touched something extraordinary, and now he had to face the consequences. The dragon lady moved closer, placing a hand on his shoulder. Jeremy, you are no longer just a human with curiosity. You are a participant in something far greater and dangerous. Remember this, always. Jeremy nodded, determination and fear intertwined. I understand. I'll be ready. She gave him a small, approving nod. Good. Then we begin preparation. The device, the shadows, the attention you have drawn. All of it is a lesson. And lessons are never gentle. The hum of the device filled the apartment once more, steady and relentless. Jeremy's heart pounded with excitement and dread. Danger was real. Consequences were unavoidable. And the world he had known was gone forever. The night fell over Neo City like a dark curtain, swallowing the streets in shadows and flickering neon light. From the 42nd floor apartment, Jeremy and the Dragon Lady watched the city below, the faint glow of his device casting strange patterns across the walls. The tension from the previous day had not eased. If anything, it had grown heavier, a weight pressing down on both of them. Jeremy rubbed his temples, exhaustion etched on his face. I can't believe how out of control everything is, he muttered. I thought I understood energy, but this is something else. The Dragon Lady remained silent for a moment, her golden eyes fixed on the device. Then, without turning, she spoke. Out of control, yes, but that is why we must work together. Alone, you are fragile. With guidance, you may survive, and even succeed. Jeremy looked up at her, uncertainty mixed with relief. Work together? You mean, you'll help me? Her gaze softened ever so slightly, though there was no warmth in her expression, only focus and seriousness. I will help you, but this is not a partnership of equals. You follow my guidance or we fail. And if we fail, she let the sentence hang in the air. It will not just be us who suffers. Jeremy nodded quickly. I understand. I'll do whatever you say. The Dragon Lady finally turned toward him, her wings folding neatly behind her. Good. Then we start immediately. The device must be stabilized. You must learn to control its pulses, its reactions, or the entities watching will not wait. Jeremy took a deep breath and stepped closer. The device pulsed gently, almost like it sensed the shift in energy between them. Okay, let's do this. For hours they worked together. The Dragon Lady guided Jeremy's hands over the controls, showing him how subtle shifts could change the energy patterns. She demonstrated the delicate balance required to keep the device from drawing more attention, and Jeremy absorbed every instruction like a sponge. Focus on intention, she instructed, her voice firm but calm. Your mind must guide the energy, not panic or fear. Otherwise, you risk opening another window, or worse. Jeremy concentrated, feeling the hum of the device sync with his heartbeat. Slowly, the erratic pulses began to stabilize, the blue glow calming into steady waves. Sparks faded, shadows outside the window retreated, and for the first time, Jeremy felt a sense of control. You are improving, the Dragon Lady said, her golden eyes reflecting the soft light of the device. But this is only the beginning. The entities watching are patient, but they are relentless. You must be ready for anything. Jeremy nodded, determination replacing fear. I will be ready. I have to be. The Dragon Lady regarded him silently for a moment, as if measuring his resolve. Then she stepped back, letting him observe the device alone. Good. Your mind is learning, but understanding comes with cost. Soon, you will face the consequences of what you have awakened. Jeremy's pulse quickened. Consequences? You mean the shadows from before? Yes, she said simply. And more. Far more. What you have done cannot remain hidden. Forces will act. Some to observe, some to stop you. You must learn not only control but strategy, courage, and foresight. A sudden gust of wind from the open window made Jeremy glance outside. The city appeared normal, but the sense of unseen eyes pressing in from beyond was undeniable. He shivered. I thought this was just energy, a machine I could understand. Now it feels alive. The dragon lady stepped closer to him, her scaled hand resting on the device. Energy responded instantly, glowing brighter under her touch. It is alive in a way. It responds to intent, to power, to presence. That is why you must be careful. And that is why we must work together. Alone, you will fail. Jeremy swallowed hard. I understand. I'll trust you. I have no choice. Her golden eyes softened slightly, though the warning in her tone remained. Trust is necessary, yes, but it is also dangerous. You must act wisely, Jeremy. Together we can face what comes, but the path will be treacherous. The hours passed in tense focus. Jeremy learned to manipulate the device with increasing precision, guided by the Dragon Lady's knowledge and instincts. She taught him how to anticipate energy surges, how to redirect unstable pulses, and how to communicate with the device as if it were conscious. Every lesson brought a mixture of fear and exhilaration. Finally, the Dragon Lady stepped back, wings folding neatly. Enough for now. You are ready for the first test outside this room. The world beyond your walls is not forgiving, Jeremy. We must act carefully. Jeremy's heart raced. Test outside? You mean go beyond the apartment? Yes, she said, her golden eyes steady. You must learn how the device interacts with the larger world, with the city, and with the attention it draws. Only then can you hope to understand its power and protect yourself from what watches. Jeremy swallowed. Fear clawed at him, but excitement and determination burned brighter. I'm ready, he said firmly. I want to see what it can really do. The Dragon Lady studied him for a long moment. Good, because soon the device will force your courage, intelligence, and instinct to their limits. And if you fail, her gaze hardened. The consequences will be unforgiving. Jeremy felt the weight of her words but nodded. He had already faced danger and survived. He had learned under fire, guided by one of the most powerful beings he had ever met. He knew the path ahead would be harder, but he was no longer alone. The Dragon Lady was at his side, an ally, a guide, and a protector. And in that alliance, Jeremy felt something he had never felt before, hope. Hope that he could master the impossible. Hope that he could survive what was coming. Hope that the device he had created could be a force for discovery instead of destruction. Outside, the city continued its oblivious march through night into day, but inside the apartment, a new bond had been forged. Human and Dragon Lady, student and teacher, allies against the unseen dangers that lurked in the shadows of reality itself. Jeremy looked at the glowing device once more. We're ready, he whispered. The Dragon Lady's golden eyes met his. For now. But always remember, Jeremy, readiness is temporary. Danger is constant. Jeremy nodded, and for the first time he felt truly prepared for what lay ahead. The first light of dawn filtered through the tall windows of Jeremy's apartment, painting the room in pale gold. For the first time since the device had come to life, there was a quiet moment, a fragile calm that seemed almost unreal. Jeremy sat on the edge of the table, staring at the glowing device, trying to absorb everything he had learned. The Dragon Lady stood near the window, wings folded neatly, her golden eyes scanning the city. There was a tension in the air, though one that made Jeremy's heart race. He knew this calm would not last. Something was coming. He could feel it, an invisible pressure pressing on his mind. Jeremy, the Dragon Lady said softly, her voice cutting through the silence. You have learned much, but there is one final truth you must see, one truth that will change everything. Jeremy looked up, curiosity mingling with dread. What truth? She moved toward the device, her fingers hovering above its surface. The hum of energy seemed to respond to her presence, pulsing faster, brighter, like a heartbeat racing in alarm. This device, she began, her voice low and deliberate, is not merely a tool for energy. It is a key, yes, but it is also a mirror. It reveals what is hidden, what is possible, and what is dangerous. And it has revealed something to you. Jeremy's pulse quickened. Revealed what? Her golden eyes met his, unwavering. It has shown you the existence of other humans. Not in your city, not in your world, but beyond. Worlds connected by the threads of energy your device has tapped. Some of them are allies. Some are enemies. Jeremy felt a chill run down his spine. Other humans? You mean, humans out there like me? Yes, she said firmly. You are not alone. But you are among the first to awaken to this knowledge. And knowledge comes with responsibility. You have touched forces that even I have only observed from afar. Jeremy swallowed hard. The weight of her words pressed down on him. He had thought the danger came from shadows or ancient entities, but now he realized it was far more complex. There were humans beyond his understanding, humans whose intentions could change everything. And there is more, the dragon lady continued, her wings rustling slightly. The entities you encountered, the shadows, they are not just guardians. They are also guides, tests, and warnings. They have allowed you to survive, to learn. Because you were chosen. Chosen to understand, to master, and to protect. Jeremy shook his head, trying to comprehend the enormity of it all. Chosen by who? The universe, she said simply. By forces that see potential where others see weakness. By energies that test courage, intelligence, and heart. Jeremy, you have passed the first trials, but the greatest challenge is yet to come. Jeremy's heart raced. Challenge? You mean, more danger? She nodded, her gaze intense. Yes, but also opportunity. You can use what you have learned to protect not only yourself but others, humans, dragons, and forces that have long remained hidden. But you must understand, every choice carries consequence. Every action ripples outward. Jeremy looked at the device, its gentle hum now steady, almost serene. He realized it had been more than a machine. It had been a teacher, a mirror, and a warning all at once. And now, the truth it revealed was clear. His life, his choices, and his courage would shape what came next. I understand, he said, voice trembling but firm. I won't run. I'll face whatever comes. The dragon lady's golden eyes softened, just slightly. Good. Courage without understanding is reckless. Understanding without courage is useless. You have both, Jeremy. That is why you are ready. Jeremy's chest swelled with determination. He had begun as a curious, unassuming human tinkering with energy, and now he stood on the threshold of a vast, unseen universe. Danger had tested him, fear had confronted him, but he had learned, survived, and grown stronger. The dragon lady stepped closer, her hand brushing lightly over the device. Energy pulsed in response, a sign that their bond with the forces at work was stronger than ever. Tomorrow, she said softly, we begin the next phase. You will meet others. You will face choices that will shape your world and worlds beyond. But for now, rest, learn, and prepare. Jeremy nodded. He looked at the device, at the dragon lady, and at the city beyond. Neo City seemed ordinary, but he now knew better. Invisible currents of power flowed through it, threads of energy connecting everything, humans, dragons, and beings beyond comprehension. And he was no longer just an observer. He was a participant. The hum of the device became a gentle rhythm, echoing in the quiet room like a heartbeat. Jeremy felt a mixture of awe, fear, and excitement. He was ready for the challenges ahead, ready to uncover secrets, ready to face danger, and ready to protect what mattered. The dragon lady's golden eyes met his once more, fierce and unwavering. Remember, Jeremy, the universe watches, tests, and waits, but it also rewards those who are brave enough to rise. Jeremy took a deep breath, his hand brushing over the device. I'm ready. Whatever comes, I'll face it. And with that, a new chapter began. Not just for Jeremy, but for a universe that had quietly waited for someone brave enough to awaken its secrets. Outside, the city continued in its oblivious rhythm, unaware that one human had crossed a threshold that could change everything. Jeremy had survived the first trials, forged an alliance with the dragon lady, and uncovered truths beyond imagination. And now, he was ready to step into the unknown, to face dangers and discover wonders that no human had ever imagined. The adventure was only beginning,